All right, so let's get things started. Welcome, of course, again, to the MEIS conference. This is panel number 3. This is focusing on the independent artists team. So what we're going to be talking about is not just what it means to be DIY, but to be DIY plus more. Now, everybody on this stage is either an artistpreneur or is working with one or part of an artistpreneur's team. What is an artistpreneur? An artistpreneur is somebody who looks at their brand, their music, and ultimately themselves as a business. We heard that a few times today, so we're going to echo that sentiment, but also dive a little bit deeper. All right, so without any further ado, I'm going to pass the mic down, and if all the panelists can give us a quick blurb about themselves, and we'll get started.
Ladies first?
Yeah, let's start off with Nasha.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Nasha Clark.
Oh, 1 second, Nasha. I'm sorry. One mic, everybody. One mic. Awesome. Go for it, Nasha.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nasha Clark. I own my own company representing athletes, influencers, talent alike. I went to undergrad for SUNY Albany and got my master's at Hofstra University while interning at Rock Nation.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Laura Katana. Currently, I work at Symphonic Distribution. We're an independent music distributor. I'm the director of content and social media strategy. But my background is in artist management and label management. I co-founded one of Havana, Cuba's first urban indie music labels. And that's kind of how I got into music. So really psyched to be here.
Same. I'm excited to be here. Hi, guys. Sometimes I don't need a mic, so I might go in and out. My name is Jazz Woods. I'm so happy to be here. I am a graduate of New York University. I got my master's from the Gallatin program where you create your degree. So I created my degree around hip-hop, digital humanities, and social change. My thesis was Good Kids, Mad Cities, Hip-Hop, and Black Millennials in the Age of Social Media, where I not only interned at places like High 97, where I met the amazing Eli, but Rock Nation, and eventually was, hired there. And through my experience there, it led me to Los Angeles, where I worked at Universal Music Group for 5 years. And now, the good spirit has brought me back to New York, and I'm happy to be here. I've been able to be a creative director at Sprite. I've been able to now transition into music, TV, and film at spaces like Rough Riders. I'm also a host of the Reasonable Dialogue podcast with Dochi's official DJ Miss Milan. And aside from that, ultimately, I am a nurturer. I like to, take that title because I bring a sense of care for people's emotional well-being in any space I'm at, whether if that's here today, with these lovely people, or, if I'm on set or, in a classroom. So excited to be here. Your turn.
I can't follow that up, but what's up, everybody? My name is Donnie Klang. I had a record deal back in 2007. I was signed to Bad Boy and Atlantic Records. I went on to open my own company in 2011 called The Loft Sound Studio. We are located right here in Long Island. We help develop artists. We basically help to do everything that this panel is about to talk about, so we do have a lot of knowledge on that. And I'm also co-founder of the Pop Star Party. It's a music-themed kids' birthday party.
Amazing. Well, you guys already heard a lot of my story, but I will say one thing that is, remember the whole Forrest Gump thing and how I've been around? So Donnie doesn't know that back then I was producing or co-producing behind the scenes with a guy named Seven Aurelius.
I knew it. See, that's where your name sounded so familiar.
Yeah, so big shout out to Seven. Obviously, he was one of my mentors and people that I worked with back then, and we had a great time back then, right? Growing up.
Man, so Seven, this producer he's talking about was
Dubs.
super eclectic. If you met him on the street, you would think this guy is just weird, but I don't know about your experience, but he changed my life as an artist, just looking at things from a business standpoint, a branding standpoint, production, sonically, he was just
genius.
Yeah, just so smart. He put the right people together too. He's just beautiful.
He believed in me when no one
100%. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, so there's that, and so World Artists United, as you've heard that before, is a branding, marketing, creative agency. We manage brands. That means athletes, I mean, well, I'm not going to name people, but big athletes, musicians, actors, even sports teams. So, for example, we were the marketing agency for a team you guys may start getting to know now called New York City FC. And I mean, collaborating with all kinds of teams from Manchester City to now some of the things that we're doing. So that's what we do as a whole, but we just love collaborating with people. So I'm here to collaborate even with you guys.
Give it up one time for the panelists.
Let's go.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, so as you can see, we have some very well-distinguished folks on this panel. Myself, I'm Professor Eli Johnson. I'm an adjunct here teaching music marketing. I am also the founder of the Two Alive Tour, which is a nonprofit focusing on career development and social and emotional learning for college students and high school students. And also, and probably the most important in this realm, is I'm a full-time artistpreneur. Hey. Much like many of you, this is an opportunity for you to learn how to leverage the skills you already have. If you want to be multi-million dollar whatever, you got to start with that before you get it. All right? So with that being said, let's kick off with the first question. First question, guys, is at what point is it time to expand past the DIY phase of being an independent artist? DIY meaning solely doing it yourself.
Yeah. You want to start there again?
I would say, for me, at least with my experience, because one of my clients, she started off on YouTube and then grew, and she signed to Capitol Records.
Who's your client?
Queen Naja. She definitely, grew up on YouTube, and that's where the world fell in love with her. But I feel like we realized in 2018 it was time to sign to a label. Yeah. Like, she was very gifted, but sometimes it's all about putting the people in the right position to aid in that gift.
Yes.
And I think we just learned that as a team, that sometimes, people like to bring in their friends and, but I feel like always having somebody that's has a more affirmative skill set in what you do is better than you just winging it. And if you look at Cardi as well, Cardi started off in Love and Hip Hop, right? But she knew it was time to expand and bring in, the heavy hitters. I think it's really important to know that and have people around you that can see that and are not trying to just feed off the immediate fame or wealth.
Love that. Mic is open.
I can go.
Yeah.
So my first question is are there anyone that is in here that may consider themselves a creative or an artist, but they're like in between? Okay, amazing. Because when I speak from the perspective of like independent artists, I'm also considering those DJs out there, those graphic designers, those videographers. Like, in a sense, you are a type of artist as well. 100%. And a lot of my experience is working with DJs and photographers, right? And some of the DJs and photographers I started off with, whether if I was like their creative agent or, like their manager or just a homie that was there to want to help. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's how the homie becomes the manager. And now you got the next, QC or you know what I'm saying? Things like that. So I think from experience and watching so many creatives over time is you have to know when that scale is catching. And sometimes you're not catching it. Sometimes it is your peers. Sometimes it is your friends. So for examples with like DJs and photographers, once they start getting, like eyes and ears from these big names, whether if it's like Rolling Stone or, a Parkwood Entertainment, like my friend Maisha, who is, Beyonce's photographer when she goes out and does these, shows. She brings me in or someone else in when she isn't able to, process some of the, data or questions they're asking. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's like an artist router or things like that. Sometimes your creative friends, they don't want to talk. They just want to stay creative, So if you can be someone that can be, a talking port or a vessel for them, I think that's where, the knowing when to bring someone in comes on. Because sometimes you don't need someone, because too many cooks in the kitchen, messes up the recipe. So I think just having that discernment and knowing like, okay, I have X, Y, and Z on the table. Now I need to bring in, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be a manager. Sometimes it could just be a mentor. Sometimes you can simply bring in a mentor to help you, streamline what you need.
Love that. Awesome. All right. So with that being said, at what point or what kind of mindset is needed to take an independent artist from a sense of virality into legacy?
Go ahead.
Go for it, El.
I mean, I really think you need to like learn the business, learn the strategy, like learn what is it that makes artists stick around, you know? Going viral, not that it's easy, but it's achievable if you know, have some social media skills. But the acts that stay around have something more. And I think that really requires like a deeper understanding of music, of the business, of culture. And I think a lot of artists skip over that.
Oh, yeah.
What I'd say is this, and I know you've probably heard this phrase a bazillion times, make it a bazillion and one. Your network is truly your net worth.
Yeah.
And when you look at it from that perspective, listen, again, don't underestimate anybody. The person next door or next to you could have an uncle's brother's sister's aunt. That is the one person that can help to get you to a brand, for example. And it's really about, and I brought up a brand because guess what? Brands are actually paying money to micro-influencers. And so if you start thinking about it from that perspective, and by the way, look at the school you're in. Literally, if you don't make a team, you better have you better have the Avengers here. This is what you, everybody got a different superpower. Hey, listen, I'm not a good singer, but man, you're good. But I'm good at sound engineering. And my boy's a producer, and my girls, guess what? She's doing video, and so on and on. And so you can build that team, and a micro network can lead to the next network, to the next network, to the next network. And so that's how you start thinking about it. And reaching out to brands is free. Think about it. Literally, just hello, you got ChatGPT right now. Like you can do anything.
Okay.
That's what I call mine, by the way, ChatGPT. and so the idea is that simple. You just put it all together, build a team, and like she said, virality, going viral is not a problem anymore. It's really the narrative. Why should I care, and why should I stop flicking my finger? What are you going to tell me? What is your why?
Okay.
Legacy is easy after that.
No, I love that. I want to segue that point into a question for you, Donnie. When it comes to developing artists, within those first 3 years of choosing to go the full-on artistpreneur or just artist route, what would you suggest be the 3 principles they focus on?
It's tricky because as a creative, you need to be creative. And the minute you start to think of it as business, it could take away from the creative.
Right.
But then the second you don't focus on the business and you just stay creative, it might never scale. It might never grow. And it's crazy, my mindset now that owning businesses has just changed my whole outlook. And I wish I could go back 2 decades and just inject this knowledge in my brain. And I was just saying it before, I wish I could be in your seats right now to hear the information that you're getting from everybody that was up here today, because it's so valuable. It's right now we are in early stages of trying to franchise a business. I don't know a thing about that. I was very good with math. I'm good with accounting. I know this is what we made, this is what we spent, this is how much we earned. It's great to have that business knowledge. But then when you get to that level where you need to grow and you see your product is starting to become in demand. People are starting to believe in what you believed in before anybody else believed in it. That's when you start to put these pieces in place to teach you stuff that you don't know or handle the things that you don't want to handle. There's going to be the things that you're good at and the things that you're not good at. And you guys have so much access at your disposal right now from what he was just saying with everybody, your peers around the school. Everybody's got different strengths. Yeah. Everybody's got different weaknesses. Now's the time, I'm assuming, hopefully most of you don't have kids yet. You don't have too many responsibilities. You're here every single day. I would make the most of that. Yeah. So to segue that, the first 3 things, it's almost like you shouldn't even think about it as what is the first 3 things. There is no formula to this. Yeah. If there
Well
was,
said.
we could have just gave it to you and everybody would have went and just followed the formula, and it is what it is. It's almost like you need to let those things develop. Stay creative, stay true to the art that you're creating. Don't let too many people take you away from, if you have a unique sound, don't try to conform to what's going on right now. Stick to that sound, stick to what you believe in, and then find other people that are like-minded that could also help you expand on that vision.
Go for it now.
I just wanted to jump in and piggyback off what everyone said here. It is so important that you really relish in your network. Like, if you take nothing away from today, my network has changed my life. In fact, I didn't even know Jazz was at Rock Nation. I found out after he was at Rock Nation. And I was so obsessed with being attached to a big label and a big name. But the real wealth and what set me apart to this day is my network. I hustled every event, worked for free, flew out for DJ Khaled, worked his event for free. Hi, I'm Nasha Clark. Nice to meet you. Shaking hands. I wasn't getting paid for years. And my network landed me my first big break. So it is so, so, so crucial. And I just really wanted you guys to understand that.
Yeah, no, that's great. I just wanted to follow up because what she's saying is so great. And I think what she's touching on too is really being impactful.
Yeah.
Like, there's one thing to like network, right? Everyone's quote unquote like networking. Like, I think about that Issa Rae clip where she says like work across, work with your friends. But I think even since the post-pandemic, we've, to her point, even grown beyond that. Like, it's about impacting. You networked, we're all here, but did you connect?
Right.
Like, did you make a connection that can go beyond influencing? Because we're all influencing. It's oversaturated now. But are you impacting through that network? So,
But I think it's also important, to your point, Jazz, to maintain those relationships, right? Because at Rock Nation, I was cool with the janitor. I was cool with, people in the middle. I met Jay a million times. But I treated everybody with the same respect, to the point where to this day, I needed a solid earlier this year, and I was able to contact people from Rock Nation when I worked there in 2016. It's all about being genuine. I feel like a lot of your character will carry if you're not motivated by greed. Like, if you show up honest every day, it will literally change your life. This way you can loop in those connections when they make sense, and people can also utilize you as a resource.
Love that.
Fire.
1 second while we're talking about networking.
Please, go for it.
One of the best bits of advice I can give you all: get an elevator pitch down, learn how to introduce yourself.
big.
I
It's a
don't
fact.
want to hear anybody come up to me afterwards and say, "Hi, I'm an artist. I make music," kind of. Fail. Go Google, put your elevator pitch, practice it. You will use it every day.
That is like, that's a jam right there. That's you. Hey, clip that. All right.
I have a great little worksheet that I'm happy to share with everybody from a career coach I worked with many years ago.
wow.
That's fantastic. So I just want to say one thing that he said, and kind of like, well, first of all, brilliant, everybody. But you said something about the formulas, right? And I just, it triggered this. Every great scientist has to blow up the lab a bunch of times before you get the formula right. All right. I literally, because of that, have a PhD in failure. I was really good at it.
Same.
And then eventually, once you get that one time, you get that one break, like she said, you just wait, you work. Hey, can I do boom, boom, boom? And you service. You ask, hey, can I serve? Can I help? Can I push? Hey, Mr. or Mrs. whoever, can I be of service? Here's my skills. By the way, don't ever say, what can I do? Because you know what? I don't know what you can do.
Yeah.
Just tell me, hey, this is what I'm bringing to the table. It's not much, but I promise you I'll be the best at these 3 things that I can do. And so things like that, that helps the formula, and everything else you guys said.
No, that just made me remember too recently what Outkast said when they accepted their speech at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, great things start in little rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Everything I've done has been and started in a small room with 4 unpaid internships when I was like making nothing, but by the grace of, God and the spirits, I was able to stay fulfilled. So even if it's a small room, somebody would consider this a small room, but we're so big and impactful. So never forget where you're starting either.
Boom.
Yeah, I'll say this too, just to give a tangible, example of this. I was signed in 2007, and a lot of those people that I was friendly with, I was a 21-year-old kid at that time, they were interns that I was becoming friends with that were just fresh out of school or just got their chance to intern at this big label, and I stayed cool with everybody. Now, fast forward 18, 19 years later, these people that are in my network are now president of A&R
Yes.
division.
Yep.
They're
Yes.
taking over a whole label. They're sub-labels. They grew with the labels throughout the past 2 decades of the growth of technology, and now these people, you never know. These people
Remember,
in this room.
never burn a bridge. I
Never,
said it
never.
earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I want to shift gears a little bit towards the engagement with fans, but also the team. So in a world where collaboration is everything, how can an artist balance creative control with trusting the expertise of their team?
That's a good question. Anybody?
I guess,
Say, Donnie.
yeah. I've just seen it from so many different angles, too. It's like I've worked with kids, I work with adults, there's parents involved, there's a lot of different layers to it. But yeah, it's creative control. At the end of the day, you're the CEO of the brand of your product, and you have to always keep that in mind. So as you start to grow this team, always keep that in mind. Like, how did it start? Why did it start? Like he said, it's got to have a story, especially now. It's you to stand out in the oversaturated market of social media, and which social media platform should you focus on? I made this for Instagram, but I'm doing good on TikTok. This one TikTok did well, so I'm gonna put my focus there. Now the next 5 I just posted got 200 views. So I'm gonna try YouTube Shorts because it seems like they're pushing videos, and I got one, and it's all of this stuff could start to happen, and then on top of that, you'll get critique from people, and you're gonna start to just take this all in, and all this submit hub, playlist push, and they come with these, I call them kind of like wannabe music moguls, where they built a big playlist that might have 100,000 followers on it, but they get paid by Submit Hub to critique your music.
Talk about it, Donnie.
And maybe they're not going to add you to their playlist, so they have to, I don't know, maybe just make it make sense that they got paid, so they have to give you this critique. And I've seen it deter so many artists, and you cannot let these things deter you. It could be your own family that doesn't see the vision of what you're doing, and you just have to stick to it, believe in it. If you're getting critique that maybe there's a common theme in what people are critiquing about your work, maybe at that point, then you should take it into acknowledgement. Because if you're getting a common critique about whatever it is, you use auto-tune, or you need to work on something, or you're using the same type of lyric or flow, then maybe take that into account. But take the rest with a grain of salt, because there's just too much out there right now. It was way different when we were coming up. It was grassroots, and I think it is slowly coming back around to that. And so I'm just going to give you the advice that we were following in the late 90s, early 2000s. If you go out and make 5 fans in person, those 5 fans are going to be worth more than the 1,000 followers you could get on social media. Those 5 fans will become fans for life. They'll have met you. They'll have a story to attach to that moment that they first met you or heard you sing. For me, I was in a boy band. This was in the boy band days, and we would go to malls and just sing a cappella. And we would just win over
Didn't that
fans.
work? Didn't that work?
It worked. I still have those fans from back then. I don't even call them fans anymore, because they're more like friends and family at this point. It's decades of knowing them, and they've followed me and supported me in every move that I've made. And it all started with that grassroots connection. So I think everything is starting to come back around to people want that connection again. It's gotten so infiltrated by technology and AI. As much as it's going to be a tool, I think it's also going to push people back to the human element.
Oh, amazing. Oh, that was phenomenal, Donnie. But no, it was, because my brain was just like, bing, 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 bing. Like, I had so many things I want to say, because I was literally going to that. I was going to start getting into the bots and the AI, because I feel like, to Donnie's point, that is basically,
the point of contention right now. It's like, what is your discernment to know what's a bot and what's not? Because you can't let the bots trick you out your spot. And I think that's a lot of what's happening right now. It's like you can't tell how many followers are authentic and what's not. But as someone like myself who is, and like everyone up here who is well versed in data and knowing how things work, I've even been paying attention on Instagram right now, having conversation with brands on my theory on why reposts are surpassing comments, right? Going back to his points, there's something inauthentic about bunch of fire flames, you keep it moving. It's a bunch of bots doing that. But if I can repost you authentically on my page, you have visibility, and
it means something.
It means something, right? And I think that's why we're seeing the numbers grow in certain repost page. But to the point, what I was basically trying to finish, because I know I'm into different things right now. The AI, I feel like, because I'm just now starting to get adjusted to it, because the only AI I know is Allen Iverson, so I'm still like, processing it. But I will say, it does provide some sense of structure, but I don't think any artist, right, if you're an artist, a singer, rapper, DJ, photographer, videographer, should heavily rely on AI, because I do feel like it takes away from the intellectual integrity of things. And that's my biggest fear with AI. And I think there needs to be some guardrails around it, because sometimes I'm like, who is telling the intelligent? Like, how do I know you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, look, there definitely needs to be guardrails, right? And obviously, I talked earlier about intellectual property, so intellectual property protection and all of that. And we're not being protected. The reality is that these large language models are being taught by our content, meaning those of us that have content publishing catalogs are being bought left and right, and then they're being licensed or sold to these companies that are using them for teaching the LLMs, right? But the reality of it is that, for example, how many people here have a YouTube on your phone? Have YouTube, period, the app. Every single person, right? Same with Instagram. Guess what? We don't use it the same, do we? Right?
nope,
So I promise you that regardless, if you are and I say gifted by God, if you are truly a creative, right? Those downloads come from somewhere else, man. I promise you, they come from somewhere else. So if you are truly a creative, it's called innovation. And you're going to use that AI or that whatever app they decide to launch tomorrow, Tesla robot, playing your guitar, he'll be your guitarist and shit. If you're a creative, you're going to use it differently than everybody else. Yes. That's what I'm saying. So do not be afraid, but instead, hey, learn it. Use it, because I promise you somebody else will. And you don't want just a bunch of bots there just making music on their own, and somebody somewhere in some tropical island zipping on pina coladas, just making all that publishing because you are too afraid or too like, whatever, FAI, I don't want to blah, blah, blah. I want to keep it authentic. Okay, sure. Do both. That's all I'm saying. You got to adapt. You got to do both,
I love that. And we're going to stay on that topic of adapting, but also being authentic in how we create our content. Laura, I wanted to touch base with you on how you would suggest creatives turn their everyday moments, such as rehearsals, behind the scenes work, recording sessions. How can they turn that into meaningful storytelling online to attract new fans?
Good question. Okay. I think first thing, if you are not an artist who naturally is inclined towards making content and being on social media, find somebody who is to do it for you, because I think not doing it is like not an option. When you get to a certain level of fame, you can do whatever you want. But when you're first starting out, personally, maybe people disagree, I think if you're not active on social media, you are just shooting yourself in the foot. Yep. That is like a huge tool you can get to reach literally the world. So yeah, I would and also, talking about building a team, working with collaborating network, I 100% guarantee you, if you are a music person, there is a creative person that's just hanging around, waiting for an opportunity. Wants to start making content, needs an artist to make content for, find that person and work together. It's mutually beneficial.
Love it.
And then I always quote a colleague of mine who was, she was the creative director at Sony, Natasha Brito, shout out. She said something once that I quote all the time, which is find an artist who is making content that resonates with you and copy it. Start by copying with the goal of putting your own flavor on it. But like, that's how you get started. And there is no shame in the game. That's what a lot of people do that, right? So like, use it as inspiration. Maybe don't copy it exactly. Okay, wait, let me walk that back. Don't copy it exactly, okay? But use it as inspiration. Use it as a starting point. And like, understand that probably your first behind the scenes, I don't know, make whatever it is that you're doing, it's probably not going to be great, but that's okay. Everybody starts somewhere, It's just about getting out there and doing it. So yeah, I would look for inspiration from others and then put your own little flavor to it.
I love that. Nash, I want to shift to you and keep it to, the social media element. But since we're living in the era of cancel culture, virality, clips, things of that nature, how would you go about speaking to your clients about protecting and maintaining their image?
I often ask them to, if you're uncertain about it, then it's probably not a go, and run it by me, please. Because we've had to do a lot of crisis management and kind of work backwards and be reactive instead of proactive. So those are many hard conversations. There was an incident actually 2 weeks ago where, that kind of happened, but we were able to somewhat salvage it. But yeah, it's really difficult. I feel like, especially like my clients, they're very out there. YouTubers have to be, right? Yeah. That's essentially how you make your money. But I feel like there is a boundary that can be in place where we don't have to overstep and show so much. I think too much access is just not the best thing all the time, but you can still be authentic in what you show. I just don't think sometimes my clients have a tendency to overshare and kind of bites us later.
I love that. So seeing now that you have a team that's monitoring your output, how you're being received, you may have a team member that's helping you with the creative sides of things. Now, in the grand or in the bigger picture, Jalen, what kind of strategies or even business tactics can an artistpreneur use to make sure that they're playing the long game?
Well, first of all, I think Laura said something great, which is it's called reverse engineering. Okay, so what you're doing is you're stealing audiences, but you're not. You're just really by the way, there's actually apps out there and things you can use to understand if you. Let's put it this way. Ask yourself this one question: if you're an artist, who would I want to open for?
Great question.
Who would I want to open for? Think about it. And now that you know that answer, and every single one of you do, then say, all right, well, who's their audience? So let's just pretend, for example, Taylor Swift. I was able to take my daughter to that concert, and when you see her opening acts, they're very similar, And you go to an Usher concert, same thing. You go to, A$AP Rocky, boom, same thing. Every single artist has very similar tastes. So for you got to reverse engineer that. You got to look at, okay, well, look, this is what they're doing. How do I capture that audience? How can I tell my story better? How can I, the first thing, it starts with your narrative. It starts with your story, and reverse engineer. Don't do it from like where you are. Do it from where you want to be. So if that artist that you want to emulate is doing X, Y, and Z, like boom, at a certain level, then you got to think, okay, well, at my level, I may not be doing, I don't know, MetLife, but I can do, in my college. And so let me get 3 or 4 other artists that are like me. Let me create a showcase. Let me create boom, 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 just for going viral type stuff, So let's create content together because so-and-so has X amount of followers, so-and-so has X ability to do whatever. And you start creating that. So that strategy has to start there. Like, how do you reverse engineer that? And again, by having the data, it's all about data, then you're able to do the right posts and emulate and tell 10, 15, 20 of your friends to go comment on that, on my favorite artist. Go tell them you should check out so and so. There's so many ways to really do that. At the end of the day, it comes down to putting in the effort. Again, looking at all the data, figuring out exactly what micro brands work with you, you know, and start going that route. It's about content. You got to create content. The music is great, but by the way, what you do in the studio, that counts.
Yeah.
You know, post that. You know, how you make a record, that counts. What was your inspiration? Boom, that counts. You know, forget the norm. You know, like he said before, you know, there's no formula to it, but the big people do it. They do have a formula, by the way. They clone that formula all the time. You know, they clone. Oh yeah, what we did with so and so, we're gonna do it with so and so. Okay, so then you guys got to do the same again on a micro level. But that's what it comes down to. Like, just do. I don't know who was saying it earlier, but just do it. And yeah, that's where it starts.
That question was so cool. The first question you asked about who, like, would you open for? Because I really think it's a cool question. And I think it also, even for the room, like, to know, like, what is the opposite side of when you're not being in your discernment and you're just trying to connect things. So, for example, I had Ari Lennox as a client before. And to, you know, Nasha's point about sustaining, maintaining your network, I was able to get her as a client because I interned for free for Vashti, who was, you know, a female DJ and just a woman, and she was the first woman to have a Jordan brand sneaker deal, and I just loved that energy. And I was able to write an article on Ari Lennox, you know, the first woman from Dreamville to do this, put out this tape. Management found it, reached out to me, etc. So we maintained that relationship, you know, and over time I was able to move on and do different things, but always had love for Dreamville and the brand. Ironically, I thought it was very interesting, to your point, when they had Ari Lennox open up for Rod Wave. And I don't know if you guys remember the storytelling and the clips that went around that, but it was a horrible look for her brand. Because one, they don't have the same audience, like, at all. And I think what we can would take from that is why, you know, like, knowing the data, the audience, and everything matters instead of just trying to get one look. And I don't think it was an issue on Ari or Dreamville's end. I think they just had to go through that experience to learn, like, whoa, we would never do that again. And sometimes it is a trial and error with reverse engineering. You know what I'm saying? But I loved that point because it's so important, you know?
We can learn from the stupid things that politics do, for example. Right? They are, but they do it right. The left is going to talk to the left. The right is going to talk to the right, right? And the super conservative are going to talk to the super conservative. So that's how, because they know their audience, and that's all we're saying. And by the way, again, I keep emphasizing brands. Brands know who they're looking for. And believe me, it doesn't always mean they want, you know, a massive brand. They want small ecosystems. So what can you do with that? So,
Nash?
Yeah, I love both of their points because a lot of people think, like, you meet these celebrities and your talent in this grandiose way. Sometimes it's just pure hustle, right? So, like, studying what the need is of a client. So I met Queen on YouTube, like the world, right? And I started watching her videos. I subscribed, and I was like, my niche is brand deals. So I'm going to tell you guys a true story. I ended up reaching out to her manager at the time, cold emailing, saying that I had a brand deal, which I kind of did, but it wasn't confirmed. And they got back to me, and they're like, so, because money talks, right? Yeah. And in the bio, in the subject, I put I had 20K, which I knew the brand had, but it wasn't specifically for her. And I was able to get Queen, acquire Queen that way as a client, and close the brand deal. So sometimes it's about finessing within proper means.
Look at that little Jedi mind trick.
Awesome.
The art of hustling.
Yeah, you gotta hustle. Like, you really have. Like, there's no room you're gonna walk into this industry, shake your hands. Like, I was, like, obsessed with getting in Rock Nation. Yeah, I met the network, but, like, what I did with that changed my life. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like everything is a transferable skill set. So you could apply it elsewhere. And I feel like that's when I was like, oh, I'm in my hustle bag. I'm gonna start my own business, because even with the masters, no shade, Rock Nation offered me, I think, $33,000 a year. And that just wasn't gonna cut it for me 10 years ago in New York, right? So, like, you have to be a hustler. You could be honest, you could bend the rules a little, but you gotta get it done.
Hey, but by the way, I just throw this out there. Again, another thing that you guys should think about. It's called brand equity. So if you use one brand to lift yourself or lift another brand, that's called brand equity in my business. So sometimes that's what I do. I would use, let's say, I'm doing something with Jennifer Lopez, all right? That's a huge brand, okay? So now I can go and say, hey, so-and-so, I want to work with you, whatever. Oh, we'll see, whatever. Yeah, well, I'm doing something with Jennifer Lopez, so whatever. That's just an example I'm throwing out there. So the point is that automatically their ears perk up. They're like, oh, maybe I can do something, whatever.
Yep.
So Rock Nation, whether it's Rock Nation or whatever opportunity you have, whether it's, by the way, a professor, it's Five Towns College. That's a brand, so you can use what you have to lift yourself into a situation, you know what I'm saying? To put yourself in the right moment.
Right.
Also, be careful who you align yourself with, because that will follow you around also.
That too.
That's right. And to his point too, I think from the brand equity standpoint, because we are on the panel about independent artist teams, etc. And who I think is doing this the best in terms of a label and focusing on artists, the brand equity, and using their artists as even brands and being able to leverage this one, TDE. If we're going to give an example here, I think Top Dog Entertainment is one of the best at leveraging their brand equity and how it can attach to other artists. And now they're all rising together. Yeah.
That's actually great. Okay, so we talked about the visioning, we talked about balancing. Let's talk a little bit about the stressful part of this business. As we all know,
I have stories.
Which one?
yeah, right. As we all know, this is a yin and a yang kind of a business. A lot of times it's referred to as a what have you done for me lately kind of a business.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. All that means is there's management of the stress. So how do you guys, or how have you guys managed having to realign with your clients or having to break ties without burning the bridges that you were talking about earlier? Go for it.
I know where you're looking at me. I think it's important, and this is going to sound cliche, but it's my truth. I really try to maintain my integrity. Like when I'm up at night and I can lay head to pillow and know I did right by people, I feel like I have great solace in that.
Wow.
But when there are certain situations and, big conglomerates and people that I've worked for that kind of challenge that, I've stepped back because I want to go down as one of the greatest maybe executives in the industry, but because I did it the right way, not because I, did this to this person under the table. That's just not how I live my life in totality. And my cousin always says, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes.
So that's how I try to show up. So there's been a lot of challenges. I've sued clients. I'm currently suing clients. We've fallen out. But at the end of the day, like I said, at night, I know I did right by them. So it's just kind of like your moral compass and how that's set up and taking a look at that and being introspective.
Fantastic.
What's that Jay-Z quote? Was like a couple mistakes here and there, not always right, but I don't remember it. I am always real. That's why I sleep at night. That's why it sounds, works for me.
There's a J bar for everything.
It literally is. I was going to say, too, for that question, because I think it's a great question. You got to pour into self. You can't pour from an empty cup. And I think when you're pouring into, you feel me? I think when you, but I think when you at least pour into self, because we're like Jalen was saying earlier, we're in a service type of business. Like we are giving our intellectual property, our thoughts, our voices, our everything. You know what I'm saying? Our bodies, dancing. There's so many different things. But I think living in LA for 5 years did bring me a little bit closer to wellness. I've always been a huge wellness type person, whether if I was managing a wellness activist or things like that. And for myself, that turned into creating my own business around wellness and, how people perceive wellness. So that's how I came up with Honey Blush, where you have incense that are inspired by hip hop lyrics, or you may have cannabis products that are more women leaning, but they're for everyone. You know what I'm saying? They look a little bit more feminine and things like that. Because for me, when I would walk into spaces that, were geared towards accessories for cannabis, etc., everything had a very masculine feel. No shade. But
it's like, how can we, really intersect everything that we know as women into this space as well, So having something for yourself at the end of the day also allows you to go home, sleep at night. Because we're investing in people and creatives all the time. What you gonna put back for yourself? Where's that 5-10% you're putting into yourself? So at the end of the day, 10, 20 years later, like Donnie was saying earlier, you at least got something for yourself. If you're not that executive or director or whatever, X, Y, and Z, you can say, I have my own business and I still got my heart intact.
One more point to your point. I feel like you guys also have to fall in love with rejection. Like once you were like,
That's
like
real.
I was so inspired. Like I work closely with a lot of brands, right? But like, let's say I send 30 emails. I might get a response on 2, maybe. And I'm cool with that. But it's not going to stop me from grinding every single day. So once you lean into rejection as opposed to keeping it at arm's length, you'll learn so much about yourself, the resilience, and this industry because it's really ruthless. But I think you can make it out the other side if you go about it a certain way.
PhD in failure, baby.
Yeah.
You did say that, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, you cannot escape that. You cannot escape it. Now, back in the day, let's just say 5 years ago. 5 years ago, that seems like forever.
The industry has changed.
Yes. So,
I mean, wait, hold on. Pre-pandemic, though?
pre-pandemic, how far are we trying to go back?
No, that's 2020, January, February. We still had a normal.
So imagine the normalcy of 2020, January 2020. With the rise of direct-to-consumer marketing with independent artists, what is the biggest difference from DTC in 2020 to DTC in 2025?
That's a great question.
I mean, well, you can go so many.
Take your time.
I mean, everything has changed. Everything has shifted. There's really... Let me think. Big differences. Anybody else?
I'll say the one thing is just you have to be prepared for anything, and that's just 5 years ago. Where's the world going to be 5 years from now? But you have to be ready to adapt and evolve and grow. My recording studio got shut down. So we took our speakers from our studio, strapped it to the back of a Jeep, and we called ourselves Party in the Front, and we were hosting people's graduations.
Let's go.
That's lit.
Go.
That's lit.
And I think that leans into, being an entrepreneur, an artistpreneur. It's you have to be able to adapt and evolve and just be creative, but not only put that creativity to your art, but also to your business.
Wow.
I think that's what artistpreneur at the end of the day really is going to end up meaning for everybody in here, is being able to, just
Pivot.
think on your feet. Yeah. And the world gets shut down again in March of this year. What is everybody going to do?
Yeah.
Maybe use the knowledge of last time and the things that we didn't do and take advantage of and do it right the next time around. And yeah, that's just probably, to me, the biggest thing is we don't know what's going to happen, but as long as we know, be prepared for it. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I like to think of it like the Harlem Renaissance, right? Like when the Harlem Renaissance happening, there was a resurgence of intellectual thoughts, creativity, building. How are we going to, thrive? People felt like they weren't just surviving, they were thriving at that time. And I think we said it earlier, like innovating. I think innovation has been like that next D to C thing. And going back to grassroots, like we talked about it earlier, that's one of the reasons why Cardi is so brilliant. I was able to meet Cardi like 2016, 15 at NYU, where she felt like she didn't even deserve to be in the room. And I was like, girl, you kidding me? Like, you're one of the reasons why I'm actually in the room, because I know what it's like to be that first generation college student and in the space, and everybody's like, well, what are you doing here? You're a little rough around the edges, but God got me here. That's why I'm here. So I think a lot of it is, being innovative and going back to your authenticity. Like, if those who remember Cardi when she was on Vine and all of that, everything she's doing now with this new album, Selling the Incense on the Train, she's been doing that. That is not fake. You know what I'm saying? So I think, we got to get back into a little bit of street marketing. I think street marketing has came back since the pandemic. I mean, with people getting their products out there and selling. I also think we've seen the development, we've seen the development of AI and all these chats. There's now Shopify's and things like that. I wasn't familiar with those consumer, websites or things like that before, but I think because we are in a space where merchandise, rather in vinyls, like we're also the impact of vinyls and what that did for a lot of businesses and labels. And once they saw like, oh, people actually love catalog, yes, because Gen Z wasn't a part of that, so they want to feel like they were. You know what I'm saying? Same with Gen Alpha. So I think we've gotten a bit more innovative, grassroots, and just
I'll say, go ahead.
So what I think has also really changed is I think the bar is higher. The
Yes.
bar is set much higher, and there is more expectation on your average indie artist. You know, there's more platforms you're supposed to be posting on. There's more tools you're supposed to be using. There's more tools you could be using. And I mean, real talk, I really empathize with you. It's a lot. It is a lot. I think you are expected to do more. And I think that, it really takes more of like a strategic mind and an intentional mind and like a self-preserving mind to be able to, keep up and stay, create success and like stay sane in your head.
Look, I'm going to tell you from the perspective of how we are looking at it at the highest level of branding, marketing, and creative building right now. So, even from people like LeBron James, for example, deciding that, hey, not only am I going to go direct to consumer, but I'm gonna control my narrative. So I'm gonna create this thing called Uninterrupted, and I'm gonna start telling my story so that my product, my school, my this, my that, whatever, can be. And then he becomes what? The first player to become a billionaire while playing, right? So from what we're doing is no different. So that means if you control your narrative, right? That means you control your content outlay. You can do what you want. And again, the word is reverse engineer. You can reverse engineer that audience. You know exactly what they want. You find applications. So for example, right now, I wouldn't sign with anybody. I would go directly to YouTube because on YouTube, and then there's other applications that you can actually get the data, and you can really know if you're getting all the emails, the texts, whatever. Like you can have that data, and then you can utilize. That's a bigger shift that has happened since, like the ability to acquire the data, because for forever, you'd have something like Spotify, for example, that or even Netflix never told us creators exactly how many views, whatever. They just be like, hey, it's
true.
We like your stuff. Hey, we'll give you X amount, and that's all, whatever. And then you just, but then you're like, oh, I guess I'm with Netflix. Great. And then they go and license that and make $1 bazillion with everybody else, and you just get a little tiny bit, right? So that a lot of it has to do with adaptability, knowing and understanding, like, okay, these are the tools that are in front of me. If I acquire the data, then I can address them better. I can take my own content, my own narrative, tell my story. I can acquire a team that can help me tell that story, and I can move things forward quicker directly to the people. And going back what Donnie said earlier, you don't need 1 million followers, okay? You do not. Get 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people that are super fans, and I guarantee you, oh my God, it's so easy to make $100,000 a month, just on 5,000 people, 10,000 people. I'm telling you, if you don't do it today, it's because you're just not putting in the effort.
Does everybody know the math on that, like 1,000 fan theory? No?
Talk to us.
Somebody else is going to do the math for me, though. I'll just walk you through it. But yeah, 100%. Forget about the 1 million followers, the 1 million whatevers. 1,000 people. You get 1,000 people to spend $100 on you throughout the year. Okay, that's like $8 a month, $12 a month, something like that. Totally.
$8.33.
There you go. Thank you. He's done this before. Okay, 1,000 fans, right? You spending $100 a month. Again, what?
$100K.
$100 a year.
Oh,
it's $100K. That's $100K.
It's $100K. Think about it.
The point is, you really don't. And like those 1,000 fans, they will those are the ones that are going to help you create that legacy.
One brings three.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the ones that are like going to be posting about you on their socials. When you have a song coming out, they are there, they are connected. Those are the most valuable people you can find. You can find them in real life.
Yeah.
You can also find them online if you nurture those relationships.
And by
that's
the
like
way,
responding to DMs.
I just want to throw something in there at what you're saying. The other key word that goes with what you're saying, because if you get 1,000 people, right, to be loyal.
Yeah.
Here's the other key word that every company is looking for right now. You ready? Culture.
Yep.
All right? The culture. Everybody wants to tap into it, right? And by the way, it doesn't matter. If you're Asian, you have a culture, right? Anything you have, it's all there. So you can tap into that culture, your culture, and you can bridge it. And these brands are like literally looking for you right now. Anything that you say, if you go and you create an email and like, yeah, hey, we're bridging culture, in my community, and we're doing X, Y, and Z, and blah, 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 and your brand would fit perfectly here. Oh my God. Culture.
And culture
They
doesn't
invest.
even need to refer like to ethnic culture. Culture is
Right.
like I'm really into
Car
know
culture,
exactly
Fashion,
Exactly.
music,
You know,
Wellness.
make-
shoes.
mosh pit. No, thank you. Yeah, like moshing if that's your thing. You
Yeah,
know?
love that.
Yeah.
That is a real thing.
And also, sorry, to what you were saying also before about, knowing your data. Not a plug, though I do work for a distributor, but your distributor, if you're making music, the distributor that you choose and the amount of information that they have in their dashboard that they share with you is super important. So if you're trying to be serious about that, do your research. We can, if you have questions, that's my area of expertise. But if you have questions, like go and look, like, am I
Which
getting...
one's yours?
I was just about to say.
Okay, I work for Symphonic Distribution.
Hey.
No shade. I mean, real talk, I've used all of them in my artist management days. Symphonic has a phenomenal dashboard. Thank you. If you're using DistroKid, for example, and you're trying to be serious, there's better out there. No, but like, if you're only as serious as like, I think the data you're working.
No, she's right, and all of that.
It's no
that's
different
more
than
important
Spotify.
the
Yeah, yeah, and like so that
Spotify.
you can look and say, okay, where are people streaming my music? Whoa, in this little town, Okay, maybe I should do something there. Or I see, hey, wait, I have a really high like female audience in this town. What can I do for them? Like that's how you build little like moments.
And
that
in
go
those
up.
moments, experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think of moments and experiences that you can do with that little audience. Okay, so you have 217 people. Guess what? You can create an experience on Zoom, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And then that can lead to a live performance eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
And I agree. I don't think you need to be chasing labels, but like your distributor is, I think,
Key.
something a lot of people overlook. And like that is your ally. To me, that is the goal before getting to a label. Label comes afterwards once you have, I think, some more clout.
No, that's so true. I love everything, and I think a great example of that, again, going back to an artist, independent, who we're seeing now is Doechii. When you start getting industry implant,
Started
and I'm
with
not,
Symphonic.
you know what I'm saying? And I know, yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. I've been with Doechii's because again, I'm with great friends with her DJ. We do a podcast together. I've been a part of the journey from the beginning, and I've learned once you start getting industry plant allegations, you made it. You made it because what people don't know, that was work from so many angles. Rather, if it was myself on the back end at UMG, making sure the streams and the playlisting was right, and getting her on Twitch and making sure we have all of this for the announce of the album, rather if it's her DJ, making sure she has her records right and practicing and being able to offer, her vocals on a production. And now she's the Grammy nominated DJ, it goes down to her dancers, her family being there. Like that was a Top Dog being able to come in and make sure she's right. That was a team effort. But to your point, it started with the data. You know what I'm saying? It started with the data, and it also started with, again, reverse engineering. And like, if it's not copying, maybe it's being inspired. She took a song from 2011, somebody that I used to know, put it on YouTube, and now it's nominated for Record Song of the Year. Just saying. You know what I'm saying? So I think everything that we're saying right now just really speaks to the fact that, like, if you have the right team, authenticity, and you trust that your data is being handled correctly, yeah, it can happen.
And if you don't know how to read the data, I promise you know somebody who does.
Yep.
My gosh. Number one, just give it up for the panelists for that run. Wow. All right, so we're getting ready to close out. So I want to open the floor up to to anybody in the audience who has a question. Go for it, Sluggo.
Alright, I've been waiting this whole time. Incredible. I'm talking about this is an incredible panel. Very thankful for each and every last one of y'all. Yes. For y'all. There's questions that I wanted to ask and I was holding on to, and y'all were just answering them back to back to back to back to back. Like, I really appreciate y'all. So I'm gonna try to keep my questions short because I know there's probably other people who got questions. But I'm an aspiring artist, an upcoming artist. Right now, I have a genuine following of 11.7K. I've done what you said. Just recently, which is a mistake, but I just recently started selling merch. I've been selling my shirts, sold out the first week. And I'll tell you how much I was selling the shirts for, but
Can I tell him?
You could tell them. Oh, I hit you too, right?
Yep, you was selling for $100.
Nipsey. I was about to say, yo, this
Yep.
Nipsey, huh?
But it was genuine quality. I learned so much about making T-shirts in like over a week just off me doing it myself. Mm-hmm. But I found out it was stressful. Had to find a distributor, a market. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. But I wound up not going through Alibaba just so I could get the genuine shirts and so I could touch the people hand, grassroots, shake hands and bring it to the
That's
people
what
so they
Nipsey
could
did,
get.
yeah.
And I, besides me making the money to help me get over, to help me with a lot of things, I also was able to build a network and see who really supports me. And some people who couldn't buy it, I didn't take it offensively. I found out that they want to support me.
Right.
And I was able to build a market. But now back to what I was saying. So for a while, I've been in the industry. I've basically was a, what is it called when you work with somebody for free?
Intern?
Yeah, I don't like the word, so I'll let y'all say it.
I get it.
But I was interning over at Shady Records. I was working with Al Vaughn from Burn It Down Group, and I was able to help Fabio become Fabio. We seen him outside the label with MEIS. I just came up there. They had denied me a record deal because I ain't have numbers, but I was able to help somebody else walk through the door.
That's right.
And got him to where he is. And he always tell me if I need anything, he can help me. Let me move fast. So that was that. So that's one thing I did. I was able to meet Ron Stu. Y'all know Ron Stu. Amazing man. When he see me, he dropped nothing but knowledge on me. He loves me. He helps me in my career. Like he helped me like with streaming and certain things to do like that. And also I have connections in Shady Records. Blah, blah, blah. Sean Prez, that's somebody who I actually have help with. So now I say all of that to say I have the connections. I feel like I'm right there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to liquidate that or leverage that. They just give me advice, which is good. But I need somebody. I need to become useful for them to help me. But I don't know what I'm doing.
What's your Instagram handle?
Sluggo the Dawn. SLUGGODADON. I actually have a company that could tap your phone or just send you right to my.
It's interesting because you feel like you don't know what you're doing, but you're literally walking and doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the reasons why I even said like the whole Nipsey thing is because Nipsey Hussle is one of my biggest inspirations. It's one of the reasons why I moved to LA. I have the marathon continues tatted on me. I live by it. And I think that's what you need to remember. You're on a marathon right now. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. You're selling to for $100. You're doing his whole model. You know what I'm saying? And I think one of the reasons why Nipsey started so many programs for young people is so, again, if I teach one person how to fish, they gonna know how to fish and swim forever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I honestly think you have everything that you're looking for, and you got us here. You know, for like mentorships and any type of connection you can have. I just wanted you to trust that you are on the path. I think that's what it starts first. Like you got to trust that you're doing it right, because if you feel like is this, you're gonna have that anxiety. You know what I'm saying? And we know that you got to have this right in order to do everything else. So I first want you to trust that you're on the path, and it's gonna come.
Thank you, Jess.
I think too, the same day you plant the seed is not the same day you see the growth.
Ooh.
And you're in it. And you can't see yourself when you're in it. For me, I used to look for a lot of validation. Like I'm at Rock Nation, right? I'm doing it right, everybody, right? And it was like, no, this paved the way for things down the line. You're in the thick of it, but you can't see yourself. We can, because we've been there. So just like be steadfast, stay in touch, take that advice. You'll continue to grow, but like just be really proud of how far you've come this far.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, quick question: what's your goal? What's the dream? Where do you want to be?
My end goal. So
Yeah.
in the beginning, I just wanted to be an artist.
Okay.
I just wanted to be an artist. But now, after like growing,
What, like a
meeting
touring
people,
artist, a recording artist?
I am a performer. I'm
Okay.
talking about shirt off, hanging off the lights performer.
Okay.
I done won
I feel
almost
that.
every showcase I ever been in because I'm different.
Yeah.
I'll see people perform,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, oh, he didn't stand on the table. Oh, he didn't jump in the crowd. Oh, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. And by the time I perform, I'm doing everything they're not doing. So I want to be I am a performer.
Okay.
But I can record music too, because I learned from like so I ain't gonna get into detail, but I learned from a lot of people how to songwrite and how to actually make music. So I make music that people go crazy for.
Do you have any shows coming up?
Yes, I do.
Tell everybody.
I'm tapped in though. They know me. They know me.
Okay,
But
well, tell us.
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
So
Sluggo.
Tap in with me, y'all.
Sluggo. For the sake of time, for the sake of time, tell them where the show is, and then we're gonna get one more question.
Okay. Well, my next show is actually Monday. Here, stage. Y'all better pop out. Y'all already know what time it is. I'm jumping on people's backs. I'm gonna be over there giving out drinks. Come on now. Y'all know what time it is?
Thank you, Slug.
I'm about to say showtime. I'm so used to that. It's at 6.
Okay.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock on Monday.
Yes.
Make sure you guys tap in with Sluggo.
Thank
We're gonna pass the mic for
Thank
one
you.
more
Thank
quick
y'all.
question. Anyone else have one more quick question? Oh, yep. Can you repeat that?
You're asking for advice for what next to do. You're already an artist. You don't have to refer to yourself as aspiring. You're already that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is the conclusion of the Independent Artist Team's panel. I know we've been clapping for a little bit, we've been cheering, but let's give a warm thank you to all of our panelists.
Thank you.
Make some noise for James, for Nasha, for Donnie, for Laura, as well as Jazz. Thank you guys so much for coming out.